What is an API? An API is an application programming interface. Now, what does that mean? It's essentially an address to a server that we can call that will respond usually with a dynamic JSON file to us. So we can call that address and we can get data from that address. If we take a look at this screen here, if I'm going to paste an API endpoint, that's the address of an API, into my browser, you will see that I'm getting data back. That is what your server or your application will fetch. That's the data. Now, I can prettify the data, and you will see this data is in a specific format. Now, this is an API. It allows me to retrieve data, or I can use it also to send data to a server. Now, in this example, we're going to take a look at an API that is very simple, that serves us data. So we see we have structured data in JSON format, and this is a list. You see, you get some patterns. You always have those with the same kind of like structures in there, and you have a list of many items coming back from that server. So we can reach this server by just opening it in the browser, and when we get data, we call this a GET request. So we're doing right now a GET API. It's essentially like opening a file on the browser that is dynamically generated with up-to-date information. Now we can use this to render data on the front end. So if you want to do something like this, and there are also great tools that, if you send this, they will kind of like let you take a look at how this data looks. You have your data list here with many items in them, and you get some other data here. And this is kind of like how it looks, as the JSON code, which is that specific structure of many items and lists with items in them. So now we have this API and we want to do something with it because it has to have a use case, right? The simplest use case to do this, for example, is to go inside of a front-end tool, and I have a front-end tool right here, Nordcraft, and I can link it with an API, so I can connect my website with a server. I can put that server address in here. Now this is a GET API because we are getting existing data. You can test it if you can put an API URL in your browser and you get data back, then it's a GET API. We can continue. We'll make sure this is GET. And now as you can see, we're getting this data back in Nordcraft in our tool. And we can now use this data to render lists. So for example, I can add an unordered list inside of here, and then I can build lists of items. So let's wrap this in an element real quick. Okay, let's set up some color so you can read what's going on here. But we can now take this list item, we can add a repeat on it, we can take this data, and then we will just repeat it of, which one is it? It's the data. Okay, let's go to data. And now we're rendering this list here with all the news inside of here. I don't even know which API I'm doing. I think we're maybe even getting free videos or something. I hope they're not copyrighted, but I can then go into this list that gets the data from the server. I can go to the item. I can put the title inside of here, right? I can then also go in here, add a video element in here, and I can go to this. I can go to item, and I can take the link because it seems to be it's an MP3, not a video, my bad. So I can add an audio element here, and I can go on FX. I can take the item, I can take the link, and now I'm rendering the audio file. You see, I got the audio files here. There you go. And now it's being rendered, and we're getting that data from a server. So when I now open my website, it's getting dynamic data from that server that I can play. Look at that. There you go. And this is what APIs do. They give us data, and then we can render this data on our website to show dynamic content, which is pretty cool. Now, this is how you do GET requests and how you get, data from APIs inside of your website. And, this explains how APIs work. If you want to learn more about how the web works and you want to build stuff without having to be a programmer, Subscribe to this channel. You'll learn much more about the web. Take care.